Hello and welcome to my second video about BeeWare. My girlfriend suggested that I should start the video off with a joke, so here goes. Scientists found out and they went back in. I'm not exactly sure what that's about, but let's talk about BeeWare. So in this video, I want to present a little app that I developed, and here it goes. Let's get started by having a look at the app. Now, I've been developing mainly on Linux, and for the most part of this, I only tried to run the app on Linux, but I also tested to running it on Android, and that worked as well. Although there was one little change I had to make, as well as switching Python version. So in short, what the app does is it displays a couple of functions, and we have a bunch of sliders, and we can change what the function looks like. So I'm using sort of what you would expect from the Python ecosystem here. I'm using matplotlib with its animation parts, and then I'm exporting that animation to a GIF. And then this is a web view inside BeeWare, which loads the GIF and displays it to us. Let's just try some basic things, such as increasing the frequency here. We see in the background that we have a temporary path generated, and we're reloading. This is definitely one of the caveats of the current implementation. It takes way too long for a new image to be generated, and we have some undersampling here. We see that the peaks aren't really looking that great, but that's fine. Increasing sampling would probably just make our animation even slower to generate. So let's look at some other functions that we have: a triangle wave, square wave, sawtooth wave. Let's look at the chirp. So let's have a look. In case you're not familiar with the chirp, we have basically a sinusoid of constant amplitude, which starts off slow, and we have a continuous increase of frequency, which, if you are adapting functions, is sort of a difficult thing to do. In a past project, I used this in order to tune constant frequency oscillators, as some of them, or some of their signals, towards a chirp function. Let's increase the frequency a little bit. If we increase the amplitude, it's not going to look that much different at all. We're just going to have different numbers here on the y-axis. Same thing for changing the offset. And we can also change the phase, meaning the starting point, in essence, at 0.0 on the x-axis. Other functions that are kind of cool, we have a beat wave, which is, in essence, just a sum of two sinusoids in this case, and I believe that one of them is set to with a factor to half the frequency of the other one. So yeah, this is really undersampled, but we see one wave here and another wave here in superposition. And what else? Let's maybe look at the damp chirp. So this is sort of adding a little level of difficulty to the chirp. It's not just increasing in frequency, we also have a dampening amplitude with time. Again, this takes way too long, and I've been exploring with the help of ChatGPT and language models what might be a better way to accelerate this. There are a bunch of libraries for Python, but also for JavaScript, and yeah, I'll have to look at that a little bit more. So here we see the damp chirp. It does what we expect. And let's lastly also look at the smooth Gaussian noise. So for explanation here, we're drawing from a Gaussian distribution randomly, and here from a uniform distribution. And with these two, smooth refers to an averaging over L points. I believe in this case, I've set it L to be 10. So we take 10 points of, we take a point and then we look at the L points forward, and then we take the mean of that for basically our entire function. We do that to each point. So this is our smooth Gaussian sampling. Okay, let's start the Android emulator and check out the app there. Some error that I seem to be getting is related to threading. So we see that a web view method was called on thread 5. All web view methods must be called on the same thread. Now I've been using multi-threading here in order to not block the UI while loading and continuing to display the current animation when generating a new animation. But for some reason, this seems to be problematic on Android. We have something. It's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. Let's rotate. Let's see if we can get a better look. This is a horrible app, okay? But we can drag and drop. Can I? I have a touch screen, so I can pinch, and it's not pretty at all, but we have our functions. We also have a beautiful example here of the bug that reloading or loading a different function too quickly seems to produce two GIFs, which are sort of being shown at the same time, and they keep fighting for being displayed, and then they overlap in this strange fashion. That is a bug to fix for another time. Okay, so now let's have a little look at the code itself. We have app.py, which contains most of our, well, actually all of our GUI elements. The dropdown, we have the placeholder GIF, which you saw when I ran the app first on Linux. We also have a method for exiting, which sort of asks you, are you sure you want to quit? Our setup controls function, which initializes our drop-down menu, that's the selection. Then we have the 4 sliders regarding amplitude, offset, phase, and frequency. We can quite conveniently set stuff as you would expect, you know, sort of min-max. You can also use a tuple here to set a range, default value, a function that is executed on release of the button or the slider in this case, and some styling information. In this case, I'm using this pack thing, which similar to CSS, you can specify, not sure about the order, but something like top, bottom, left, right in terms of pixels. I'm also not sure. And we have labels as well, of course, pretty similar to JavaScript, HTML, CSS stuff. We have our onSlider change function, which is called on release of the sliders, which calls onWaveTypeSelect, which is also the function that is called when we select a different wave function or drop-down menu. So they both point to the same function. And then we have sort of this big if-else block, which lets us, let's go with sign here. We select sign. I have a different module here, which is the target module. And if we go into the target module, we have specified here an abstract target class with a bunch of properties. So we have signal, which is the Y. It's in essence the amplitude of a signal. Time is, well, the time representation, a sampling rate, a data type. So for example, int 64, 32, float, etc. We also have a duration that we can specify and a name. So time is an array, while duration is a single value. And of course, we can, for example, compute time from duration and sampling rate and vice versa. And if we go down a little bit, we see, for example, that the sine function is here defined with a numpy sine call, and we can specify, for example, the frequency, the phase, amplitude, and offset, and these are ultimately pulled from our sliders. Okay, so where am I even going with this project, and what is this about? Now, as I said, the functions that I've shown are drawn from a past project of mine. This was a thesis that I did, and while the thesis is done, I thought it might be interesting to have a better visual representation of what my thesis was about in a kind of intuitive, live, visual way. And to summarize, for the thesis, there was a target function, in this case here, a sinusoid, and we had a bunch of fixed frequency oscillators. We have 3 here shown, and the sum of those oscillators produces a superposition signal, which ultimately is supposed to approach this target function. Now, if we look at the project for what it is, meaning the BeeWare app that I've shown to you, then it's only this part. We have sort of a target function that we can play around with. And what I would like to show is how we can have multiple oscillators and their sum, and how that approaches this target function with a bunch of simple algorithms that shock the oscillators, changing their constant frequency. Okay, so I hope that you found this a little bit interesting, and thank you for watching.